First Contact and Ultimatum. The night sky above Santiago erupted with light as the massive ships broke through the cloud cover. Dr. Elena Reyes stood on the observatory platform, her dark eyes tracking the vessels as they positioned themselves in perfect geometric formation. Unlike her colleagues who scattered in panic, she remained steady, adjusting the observatory's main telescope to capture every detail of the visitors. "They're broadcasting something," her assistant Marco said, voice trembling as he held up a tablet displaying rapidly changing symbols. Elena studied the patterns. After 15 years decoding potential extraterrestrial communications, she recognized a first contact protocol when she saw one. "It's a language primer," she whispered. "They want to talk." Within hours, the United Nations Security Council had assembled an emergency meeting. Representatives from every major nation crowded into the New York headquarters, while military units across the globe went to high alert. Elena found herself rushed from Chela to the UN building, her expertise suddenly the most valuable commodity on the planet. "Dr. Rice, what can you tell us about them?" asked Secretary General Oni, his usual composed demeanor strained. Elena stood before the assembled delegates, tablet in hand. "They call themselves the Nexian Alliance. From what I decoded, they govern over 300 star systems. Their technology is significantly advanced beyond ours, particularly their faster-than-light travel capabilities." "Are their intentions hostile?" the Chinese representative asked. Elena hesitated. "They've requested a formal meeting. Their communications are clinical, neither explicitly threatening nor friendly." The meeting was set for noon the following day. A landing zone was prepared in Central Park, surrounded by a mixture of military personnel and diplomatic corps. News networks broadcast worldwide as a sleek obsidian shuttle descended from the largest vessel. Elena stood beside Secretary General Oni as three beings emerged from the craft. They stood nearly 7 feet tall with iridescent blue skin that seemed to shimmer with an internal light. Their 4 eyes, arranged in a diamond pattern, survey the gathered humans with unreadable expressions. "I am Sovereign Telex of the Nexian Alliance," the central figure announced, its voice resonating with a musical quality that seemed to bypass the ears and speak directly to the mind. "We come to bring Earth into our collective." Oni stepped forward. "Earth welcomes peaceful contact with your people. I am Secretary General Oni, representing the United Nations." The Sovereign's upper eyes narrowed slightly. "Our scans indicate your species has achieved nuclear fission and rudimentary space travel. According to Protocol 7 Delta, your civilization qualifies for integration into the Alliance." "Integration?" Elena asked, unable to contain herself. All 4 of the Sovereign's eyes fixed on her. "Yes. All developing species are offered the protection and guidance of the Nexian Alliance. You will benefit from our technology, our medical advancements, our social stability." "And what does Earth provide in return?" Oni asked carefully. "Resources, labor, military conscripts." The Sovereign gestured dismissively. "Standard terms for a level 3 civilization." Elena felt her stomach tighten. The clinical tone suddenly made perfect sense. This wasn't a first contact. This was a business transaction. "We would need to discuss these terms with all of Earth's nations," Oni replied diplomatically. The Sovereign's skin pulsed with light patterns. "You have 7 Earth days to accept our terms. After that time, we will assume resistance and proceed accordingly." "And if we refuse?" Elena asked. "No species refuses the Nexian Alliance," the Sovereign responded. "Those who attempt to resist are made examples of. We have found it discourages further resistance among other developing worlds." As the aliens returned to their shuttle, Elena turned to Oni. "They're not here to make friends." "No," he agreed grimly. "They're here to make subjects." The week that followed was the most unified period in human history. Former enemies became allies overnight. Military secrets were shared freely as humanity prepared for a fight that, by all logical assessments, they couldn't win. Elena found herself working alongside military strategists and engineers in a secure facility beneath the Rocky Mountains. Sleep became a luxury as she pored over the data collected from the alien ships. "There's something odd about their technology," she told General Castillo on the third day. "It's advanced, yes, but it's homogeneous. Every ship uses identical systems. No variations, no innovations." "And that tells us what?" the general asked, leaning over the holographic display. "It tells us they've stopped innovating," Elena replied. "They found what works and stuck with it, probably for centuries. And that means they might not adapt quickly to new threats," the general finished, a spark of hope in his eyes. Elena nodded. "Exactly. And there's something else." She pulled up the spectral analysis of the alien vessels. Their hull material absorbs a specific frequency of electromagnetic radiation. "I think it's how they power their shields." "You're saying we could overload them?" "If we hit them with enough energy at that exact frequency, yes." By the sixth day, humanity had a plan. It wasn't much, but it was better than surrender. When the Sovereign's shuttle returned to Central Park, the reception committee was smaller, just Oni, Elena, and a handful of security personnel. "Your decision," the Sovereign asked without preamble. Oni stood tall. "Earth respectfully declines your offer of integration. However, we are open to establishing diplomatic relations as equals." The Sovereign's skin flashed with patterns that Elena interpreted as surprise, possibly amusement. "You misunderstand. This is not a negotiation." "We understand perfectly," Elena replied. "We simply choose our own path." "A regrettable choice," the Sovereign said. "Your species will serve as an instructive example for the next developing world we encounter." As the shuttle ascended, Oni turned to Elena. "Was that wise?" Elena watched the shuttle dock with the mothership. "No, but it was right." Within hours, the Nexian vessels began to move, positioning themselves over major cities worldwide. Smaller craft descended into Earth's atmosphere, targeting military installations with precision strikes. In the command center beneath the Rockies, Elena watched the attacks unfold on dozens of screens. "They're being methodical," she observed, "testing our defenses before committing to a full invasion." "Can your plan work?" asked the President of the United States, who had arrived hours earlier. Elena studied the data streaming in from the first encounters. "Their weapons are powerful, but their tactics are predictable. Like they've fought this exact war 100 times before." "Because they have," General Castillo said. "And they've always won." Elena's eyes narrowed as she watched a Nexian vessel easily avoid a missile attack. "But they've never fought humans before." Around the world, military forces engaged the alien vessels with conventional weapons, mostly ineffective, but occasionally revealing valuable data on Nexian tactical responses. Meanwhile, in secret locations across every continent, engineers worked feverishly to modify communication arrays to Elena's specifications. "We're ready," she told the gathered world leaders via secure video link. "When they launch their main attack, we'll be waiting." The President looked skeptical. "You're sure this will work?" Elena wished she could offer certainty. "No, but it's the best chance we have." As night fell over North America, the largest Nexian vessels moved into attack formation. The first day of resistance was ending. The real war was about to begin. Humanity's defiance. Dawn broke over a changed world. The Nexian alliance had struck precisely at midnight, targeting power grids, communication hubs, and water treatment facilities. Infrastructure rather than population centers. A clear message: surrender or suffer. In the command bunker, Elena monitored the global response to her plan. "Status report," she demanded. "London Array Online," came the first response. "Beijing Online. Mumbai Online. Sydney Online." One by one, the modified communication stations reported readiness. "Rio Station hit," reported a grim-faced Brazilian officer. 60% operational. Elena silently calculated the change in their odds. Still workable. All stations prepare to broadcast on my mark. On screens around the bunker, Nexian vessels appeared to be gathering for a second wave of attacks. Their methodical approach gave humanity the time it needed. Now, Elena commanded. Across the world, the modified arrays activated simultaneously, broadcasting an electromagnetic pulse at the precise frequency Elena had identified. For several seconds, nothing seemed to happen. Then a Nexian vessel over Tokyo faltered, its shield flickering visibly. Another over Cairo dipped suddenly before stabilizing. "It's working," General Castillo breathed. "Their shields are absorbing the energy, but can't process it fast enough." Elena watched the data streaming in. Increase power to all arrays. Focus on the command vessels. The largest Nexian ship, hovering over the Atlantic Ocean, began to list to one side as its shield systems struggled against the overload. Smaller craft scattered from beneath it like startled fish. "They're communicating," reported a signals analyst. "Lots of chatter." "They're confused," Elena said. "Their protocols don't account for this scenario." The Nexian response came swiftly. Several vessels broke formation to target the transmission arrays. London's went dark first, followed by Sydney's. "They're adapting," Castillo warned. Elena nodded. As expected. Phase 2. Around the world, military forces launched a coordinated attack. Not against the Nexian vessels directly, their weapons were still largely ineffective, but against predetermined coordinates in the ocean. "Underwater detonation confirmed," reported a naval officer. "Magnitude as expected." The resulting tsunami was carefully calculated, large enough to create the electromagnetic disturbance Elena had predicted, but directed away from populated coastlines. As the massive wave propagated through the ocean, it created a natural EM pulse that washed over the Nexian vessels from below. "Their shields are designed for attacks from above and horizontal planes," Elena explained as the alien vessels visibly struggled against this new threat. They never considered an attack from Earth itself. The Nexian command vessel's shield failed completely. Smaller craft rushed to surround it, forming a protective barrier. "Now we talk," Elena said. Using the communication frequency they decoded, Elena sent a message directly to the Nexian command vessel. "This is Dr. Elena Reyes of Earth. Your shields have failed. Your tactical advantage is compromised. We request an immediate cessation of hostilities." For long minutes, there was no response. Then the view screen flickered, revealing the Sovereign, its skin patterns pulsing rapidly with what Elena now recognized as agitation. "You cannot win," the Sovereign stated, though its tone lacked the previous certainty. "We don't need to win," Elena replied. "We only need to make victory too costly for you. How many ships can you afford to lose conquering one level 3 civilization?" The Sovereign's eyes narrowed. "No species has ever." "We know," Elena interrupted. "No species has ever refused the Nexian alliance. No species has ever successfully resisted. Until now." Around the world, humanity continued its coordinated defense. Nexian vessels attempting to destroy the remaining arrays found themselves confronted by fighters employing unpredictable, erratic tactics that contrasted sharply with the aliens' methodical approach. "Your species is unusual," the Sovereign finally said. "Perhaps a revaluation is warranted." Elena leaned forward. "We offer terms. The Nexian Alliance will recognize Earth as a sovereign, independent world. In exchange, we will consider limited trade agreements." The Sovereign's skin flashed with patterns that the translation algorithms couldn't interpret. "Unacceptable. The Alliance does not." "The Alliance hasn't faced a species like humanity before," Elena countered. "We adapt. We innovate. Even if you eventually overwhelm us, we will cost you more ships, more resources, and more time than any level 3 civilization in your history." In the tense silence that followed, Elena played her final card. "And consider this. If word spreads that a primitive species successfully resisted the alliance, how many of your current subjects might reconsider their options. The sovereign's pattern slowed, becoming more deliberate. A temporary cessation of hostilities may be arranged. For evaluation purposes, within hours, the Nexian vessels had withdrawn to high orbit. Negotiations, real negotiations, began the following day. The sovereign, still clearly uncomfortable with treating humans as equals, nevertheless engaged with the United Nations representatives. 1 week after the failed invasion, Elena stood in the rebuilt conference room at the UN, watching as Secretary General Oni and the sovereign signed the Treaty of Terra, the first interstellar agreement in human history. The terms are acceptable, the sovereign stated, though its skin patterns suggested otherwise. Earth will remain independent, with observer status in the alliance. Trade protocols will be established. No military presence from either party will enter the other's territory without permission. As the ceremony concluded, Elena approached the sovereign. A question, if I may. The alien regarded her with all 4 eyes. Proceed. How many worlds are in your alliance now? 327 inhabitable worlds, the sovereign replied. Elena nodded. And how many chose to join willingly? The sovereign's skin darkened slightly. That is irrelevant. Is it? Elena asked. Because I think you've built an empire on fear. And fear only works until someone shows it can be overcome. The sovereign studied her with an unreadable expression. Your species' defiance may prove problematic for alliance stability. Or it might lead to something better, Elena suggested. A true alliance of equals, rather than a hierarchy of subjugation. As the Nexian delegation departed, Oni joined Elena at the window. They watched the shuttle ascend toward the mothership. Do you think they'll honor the treaty? He asked. Elena shrugged. For now, they're pragmatists. They'll reassess, adapt their strategies, perhaps return in a generation. And will we be ready? Elena smiled, watching as the Nexian vessels began their departure from Earth orbit. They've given us access to interstellar communication technology as part of the treaty. By the time they decide to try again, humanity won't be confined to one world anymore. Across the globe, people emerged from shelters to rebuild. But there was a new sense of purpose now, a unity that transcended old rivalries. Humanity had faced extinction, and not only survived but asserted its place among the stars. In research facilities worldwide, scientists began studying the limited Nexian technology they'd been granted access to. Military strategists analyzed the conflict, identifying weaknesses to address before any future encounters. And in universities, a new generation prepared to take humanity beyond Earth. 3 months after the Nexian departure, Elena stood on the observatory platform in Santiago, where she had first witnessed the alien arrival. The night sky looked different to her now, not just a canvas of distant lights, but a map of possibilities. Her tablet chimed with a notification. The first human deep space vessel, built with reverse-engineered Nexian technology, had completed its test flight successfully. Operation Diaspora was proceeding ahead of schedule.